We use things, if we don't need it anymore, we throw it away, and then we make that somebody else's problem.
If you don't see the value in that plastic bottle, it's worthless. What do we do with things that are worthless? We throw them away.
There are 40 million Americans that do not have the same level of recycling access that they do to trash service.
Recycling competes with all the other needs in a community, and so local governments have hard decisions to make.
You have to roll with the punches, unfortunately, in recycling, especially in the rural areas.
There's a danger of this death spiral of small towns don't recycle because they don't have access to recycling infrastructure, and no one builds recycling infrastructure next to small towns because no one's recycling.
In order to change a broken system, it requires new design.
There's about 5 or 6 big old bags of plastic right here.
In the heartland, we rely on ourselves and one another. Hand in hand, we must stand in the heartland.
Production funding for this program is made possible by
People will throw a mattress in anything. Anything. And it's like, who at 2 a.m. decided to bring a mattress out here? We do a recycling program here at the landfill. At every location, you'll have containers semi like this. We have a lot of people come down from like DC and New York, and one of the things that they don't always understand when they move here is that recycling doesn't work the same way. You don't have a dedicated recycling truck or single stream. You are responsible for disposing of it yourself. There's no one coming to pick it up at the curb. When I started, it was well established. So I was getting the handle of running those programs, and I got a formal letter from our recycler saying, we are no longer taking plastics in 2 months. Sorry for the change. Thank you.
China's ban on scrap materials, national sword, fundamentally shifted, at least short term, the underlying economics of the recycling world.
The end game was just ship it off to China because they'll take it. So when China was like, no, what do you do? Like, what as an entire nation do you do?
Where do you go when there's only one person doing recycling for you?
This is Audrey 3, the mean green eating machine. You might even find some old little plastic bits in here from whenever that last shred was. Oh, yep, there's some stuff still in there.
My name is Scott Tiernan, and I refabricate local post-consumer plastic into furniture and home goods.
Comes out here, then gets turned into something else.
Plastic is not inherently bad. It's a material. Many people would be dead if it wasn't for sterilized plastics.
We dove into, as a society and as a world as a whole, into plastics because it could keep things safer, it could keep things cleaner. It was extremely useful.
There is no one material that is better than every other material. I don't want to drink a beer out of a plastic pouch, you know, any more than I want my hazardous materials being in a thin glass bottle.
Something comes in a shiny package and you want the something, but the shiny package gets thrown out. But like that's physical stuff. Where's it going?
This is called the Rainbow Reader. It's designed for kids. The white, I think, was kitty litter containers.
Market flux creates gaps, and gaps create opportunities, and folks who are postured to fill those gaps can find themselves in a great situation.
There isn't a beginning and an end to an item. There could be a continuation of that item if we look at it in a different way.
We are trying to go from a linear economy, you make something and then you throw it out, to a circular economy where you're taking something and you're reusing it time and time again.
I studied industrial design at James Madison University, go Dukes. I had the amazing opportunity to go study abroad in Sweden and study Scandinavian design. I discovered this sheet of refabricated plastic. Like, I had never seen anything like it before, and it was just plastic. So I did some research and realized, oh,